If I were to tell you that you didn't have to meditate one more day in your life, would that make you really excited? Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So today I want to talk with you about what you can do instead of meditating. And the reason that this video came to be is that there are so many people that are like really sick of meditating. And there's different reasons for that, but I've definitely noticed if I recommend meditation to a client or to someone that I'm helping through something, you kind of get the whole like, ugh, like eye roll, like they really don't want to. A lot of people find it really difficult, or just pleasureless. Like they just don't want to, they don't enjoy it, they just don't have time, not interested, many reasons. So I thought I would make a video today about instead of meditating, try this. So let's talk about what you can do instead that will get you just as good of results, maybe better. And this is something that I do myself. Okay, so again, some of the reasons why you might want to stop meditating is that some people find it really monotonous and they're just not inspired to do it. They're not excited about it. And when that's the case, you won't make time for it anymore. So if it's something that you actually dread doing, you're not going to do it. And that means that you're not going to get the incredible benefits of making a connection like that to a higher being, to the higher realms, frequencies, energies that are going to create so much for you. Creating like a divine connection is so much more than meditation. You are receiving healing. You are receiving guidance, heightened intuition, inspiration. Like I use it for so much, truly, but I do it in a different way, and that's what I'm going to talk with you about today. So what I do instead of meditating, and let's get clear on what meditating is, okay? I would consider that just sitting in silence, like sitting maybe cross-legged with your eyes closed in silence, and maybe just focusing on your breath. Like a lot of meditation gurus will just tell you to focus on your breathing and just like breathe calmly and slowly and just sit there. And people are like, why? Like nothing is happening, right? Well, yeah, it's kind of true. Nothing really does happen. So what I do instead is I make intentional communication. So it's kind of a visual thing and it has a lot of intention. So what I do when I sit down to meditate is I visualize a connection to God source. So I picture the white light of my crown chakra, so the white lotus flower, spiraling upwards, 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 going up through the ceiling of the room that I'm in, up into the sky, going up even higher through the clouds, past Earth's atmosphere, all the way to the edge of Earth, where it then kind of passes through the planetary grid and goes all the way up through space, past the Milky Way, all the way to the edge of the universe. And at the edge of the universe is the doorway to God source. Or some people don't like God source, they just use God or source or the universe, whatever you consider or call that higher power, that white light, going all the way to the doorway of that, and then visualizing that doorway opening and going through into the light. So that's how I start every meditation. I start it with connection. Now, if you're wanting to connect to something other than source, then you can visualize, just use your imagination, okay? Your imagination is the doorway to your third eye. That's what visualizing is. It's just imagining it, right? Like you could imagine your higher self. You could imagine one of your spirit guides, a past loved one, an angel, an ancestor, an animal spirit guide, a galactic spirit guide, a council, or just God source, whatever you like. So pick someone that you want to connect with when you sit down to meditate. Make a decision then, and it can be somebody different each time. And then you imagine with your eyes closed, so in your mind's eye, you're using your third eye when you do this, you just imagine what that connection looked like. So for me, it's that taking the crown chakra and it goes shooting up through the sky and it goes through this doorway of light, and then I'm connected to God source, whom I call Baba, B-A-B-A. And that can mean grandmother spirit or grandfather spirit. So it can be like feminine if you need it to be, or masculine, anything that you need, right? And I actually do really encourage you to create a personal connection with source. You don't just use the title source or the title God. Come up with a name that means something to you and that feels personal. When you create a personal connection with your creator, it is so much more powerful than just this formal, like using a title. It's not the same. Like when you have like a name, it becomes very like personal instead of formal, and you will receive so much more from that relationship, so much more. So please just trust me on that. And if you don't have a name yet that you use for source, think of one and start using that, and that's how you start to build that relationship and those like foundations. Anyway, so first you do the connection, and then you set the intention. So intentional communication, right? So now that you've decided who you want to connect to, what is your intention? So you can ask for help, you can ask for something specific. You can literally speak out loud, or you can do it in your mind. So if I connect, say I'm just wanting to connect to source, I just connect, visualize my connection to God source. Then I start talking like, hello, Baba, how are you? Here's what I'm going through right now. Could you help me with this? I need help with that. Maybe I need inspiration for a project, some ideas, some creativity. You can receive that in this way. Maybe I need guidance on like a personal problem that I'm going through. Like, how can I move through this block? Maybe I'm feeling really down and sad and I just need to release and cry. Maybe I'm looking for an upgrade or an activation, or to like, or a clearing or a healing. Like there are so many things. It's limitless what you can receive through doing a connection, an intentional connection like this that leads into communication and conversation. So basically you want to pour your heart out. Just pour your heart out about everything that's going on with you, everything that you're feeling, and you will feel that connection. You will feel the warmth of it in your body. You will feel the emotional comfort. And if you make space for it, you will even receive back the answers if you listen, right? So this kind of connection it's a two-way conversation basically that's happening. So you can't just talk the whole time. You have to actually make space and listen if you want to receive answers and guidance, but you can receive that. So basically at that point, you are exercising clairaudience. Clairaudience is clear hearing, where you're hearing in your mind's ear the other side of the conversation. And it is also called telepathy, right? So you know that you've made a connection when the conversation in your mind takes on a two-way conversation, when you're not just sharing, but you're also receiving. At the beginning, this can really sound like your own voice in your mind, right? And that makes it kind of hard for people to realize that they truly are connected and receiving and having this conversation. But at the beginning, it kind of always sounds like your own voice, because you're just getting used to stretching these muscles of clairaudience and using this like telepathy for the first few times. Eventually, if you practice a lot, you actually will be able to hear another voice, like other tones, male or female. Even sometimes accents, depending on like if it's a galactic guide or an ancestor, you can even pick up that. But at the beginning, it will probably just sound like your own voice. Now, if this is your higher self that you've called in and you're talking to and having this conversation with, and like visualizing what they look like, it's a whole experience, right? You can use all of your psychic gifts when you do this. Your third eye, so that's your clairvoyance, to kind of visualize what they would look like. For me, I always visualize, when I go to source, I visualize this like beautiful little cabin, and there's this couch and a fireplace, and we sit on the couch and we just have a conversation together. And it's like this really nice cabin. It has a kitchen, like it's really cute. And this whole thing that effortlessly, these images are what came to me. So that's like my way of connecting with source, and what source is sending me to confirm that I am making that connection and to help comfort me. So it would probably look different for you depending on who you're connecting with. That higher being will know what comforts you, will know what will set you at ease, and what setting that they can show you through your third eye, through your imagination, that will help you to feel like you can just relax and be yourself. Some people visualize a meadow, like a stream, beautiful trees, like anything. It's a waterfall. It's really up to you. So you've got the connection happening. You've got the intentional conversation happening. Now you're making room to listen. You're not just talking. You're kind of waiting to receive. And sometimes, like I said, that's going to sound like your own voice. If it's your higher self, it will always sound like your own voice because that is you. But if it's God source or a different kind of guide or ancestor or an angel, you can actually start to pick up on these different tones in their voices. And they will also use different words than you would choose, like different phrasing. And that's another really clear indicator that this two-way conversation is underway and happening. So they may speak more quickly than you or more slowly. They may choose words that you wouldn't normally choose. They may use like different grammar or intonation or different words than you would use as well. And that's also a clear indicator that this isn't your imagination. You truly are connected to something else, another being other than yourself, and you really are receiving this guidance. So you do need to have a clear mind, clear of racing thoughts and clear of the clutter in order to really perceive this conversation that's happening. You do really need to kind of just have that clear mind and that strong connection happening. And a great way to clear your mind is, for me, I visualize, once I make that connection to God's source, I visualize white light pouring down over me, starting at the top of my head in my crown chakra and going all the way down. And every area of my body that it touches, it clears and relaxes and sets at ease. So that's a really quick, once you get used to doing this, it can be like super fast. You visualize the connection, you're imagining what this other being that you're connecting with looks like. You have the white light pouring down over you as a protection and as a clearing, so that you can be really present in that conversation. So this is what I do instead of meditating. So I encourage you to give this a try. Instead of just sitting there quietly, listening to your own breath, waiting for something to happen, like maybe nothing's happening, maybe you're getting bored, maybe you're like, oh, I can't sit here and do this. Maybe your mind is racing and you can't quiet your mind. Try this instead. Try visualizing your crown chakra as a white light, like a white lotus flower that opens up. And at the center, this white light starts to spiral upwards. And it makes its way to whomever you choose to connect with. That can be God's source, a guide, anything. Makes its way to them, and then the connection is formed. And then visualize white light surrounding you as a protective measure, and also to clear and quiet your mind. And then set the intention by starting the conversation. Here's what I need. Here's what I'm looking for. Can you help me? Doing this in a safe way, connecting with the light, it's powerful. It's more powerful to me than meditation. And you might kind of recognize this whole process as prayer, right? And I know a lot of spiritual people have religious wounds, myself included. Starting out in this, I really couldn't use words like God, prayer. I had a really hard time with anything that resembled religious programming because it had hurt me so much in the past. I grew up in like what I would consider, it was worse than a religion. It was truly more like a cult, and it was based on fear and guilt and shame. And it really it hurt me. It hurt me deeply in many ways. And it took a long time to disentangle that, unbrainwash myself from all of that. So now that it's been years and years since I've kind of come out of that and I'm truly healed, all of a sudden I'm interested in God and angels and prayer and all of those things, and they don't hurt me anymore. And I feel like because I've got some space between me and that religious programming, I can see clearly again how religion kind of hijacks ideas like Jesus and God and uses them for its own manipulation and control and fear. But truly, Jesus is a beautiful spirit that, he was not even around when religion was created, right? So it's really not his fault. But anyway, I digress. You might recognize this process that I've explained to you today that you can use instead of meditation as actually being prayer. But it's deeper than that. It's like using your psychic gifts in service to the light. Using your psychic gifts to help you connect to other higher beings. They can be a Pleiadian guide. It can be an alternate version of yourself. Like maybe you're living a parallel lifetime as an Arcturian. You can connect to them. It only takes the intention. And then the visualization of it, that connection happens, and then just start talking. You just start the flow by talking, and make sure to leave space to receive and to listen. And you'd be amazed at what comes back. try this a few times before you give up on it, okay? At least allow yourself a couple of times to try this. Maybe have a journal nearby where you can write down what you've received in response, and notice everything that you receive, not just in your mind with the words that you're receiving, but the feelings in your body physically, the emotional feelings in your heart. All of that can help you create, well, confirmation that you've connected, but also receive that healing, receive that therapy, receive that intuition, guidance, that beautiful connection. There's so much that it involves. So if you have any questions about how to do this, please leave them in the comment section below and I will check those out. But please don't give up. If meditation isn't for you, then try this intentional conversation, this intentional connection. You don't have to call it prayer if you don't like that, but just try it and see what you receive. You are going to be so blown away if you haven't tried it before. I truly do this a lot right before falling asleep. I do it right before bed and I receive so much. It's literally like you make the connection and then like these floodgates open and all of these ideas, all of this healing, like it just pours out over you. I also do it before I want to create something, like creating one of these videos or a post or whatever. I sit down and I have like an intentional connection like this to the divine. I purposefully connect, start a conversation, and then what I receive is inspired ideas for my content, which is beautiful. It's coming from this divine source, right? So you can use it in so many ways: before healing, before creating, before bed, before doing something that you're nervous about, before a session, if you're the client or the person providing the session, to set your intentions and to receive exactly what you want to receive from that session. So please let me know what you think. If you're already doing this, how do you feel about the word prayer? How are you with telepathy and this conversation in your mind? Do you want to do a video about that? We could definitely do a video about telepathy because it's something that is a real strength for me. Clairaudience is like one of the very first psychic gifts that I ever experienced. It comes very naturally to me, and I have a ton of tips about that. So let me know if you want to hear more about that. Otherwise, if you would like to talk about intentional connection, if you want to connect with a beautiful spiritual community, I have the most incredible membership. The Starseed Academy VIP membership is where we meet once a week, every single week. We get together live on Zoom and we do powerful healings, activations, upgrades. We go on astral missions. I do group readings for people. We do workshops. I even take suggestions from the group members about what they want the next event to be, what times they want it to be at. Everything's done by polls inside this group. So check out the link in the description box below and choose the Starseed Academy membership group. You can read all about what we do in there, but if you're ready for the next level of your spiritual journey and healing and expansion, then this is something that is going to be so valuable to you. Other than that, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for new videos every Sunday. And before you go, please remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. Thank you, beautiful star seeds. Have a wonderful day.